back to stream 3. I'm so excited to have you guys here with us again. Very quickly, I just want to give a shout out to Swivel, our conference sponsor. They have done some incredible things to make this such a incredible, purposeful learning for all of us. I'd also like to say thank you to Brisk for our t-shirt sponsors. They are amazing. And remember, if you snag one and are at ISTE, you can use it to get into the Brisk meetup. I also want to make sure that I point out Eduate, which is today's sponsor. So thank you, Eduate, for everything you're doing for educators while also being in the classroom at the same time. That's impressive, guys. Now, I'm going to jump right in because I want to make sure that this chick has plenty of time to talk. I am so excited to be the one to get to introduce the incredible Brittany Blackwell. She is a champion in tackling teacher burnout and enhancing classroom engagement, and all of that while using AI. In her session, she's going to tell you all kinds of practical tools and ways that you can get rid of the teacher burnout, because guys, we're all there and we know it's real, especially in May, right? So let me go ahead and bring her up. Brittany, thank you. It is so awesome to have you here with us.
Thank you so much, Christy. I got like a really good introduction there, so I appreciate that.
Appreciate you. If you need anything, you let me know. Otherwise, I'm going to let you take it away.
All righty, sounds great. Well, hello, everyone. I am super excited to be with you guys today. I'm going to be talking about grading smarter and not harder. And so I want you to imagine, just do a little imagining with me really quick. Imagine it's a late Thursday, like today, or maybe it's a Sunday evening. You're sitting at your desk. You're surrounded by piles of assignments that are waiting to be graded. Maybe you're still at school, or you've packed up all of your things and you're ready to bring them and complete them at your kitchen table. But what you really want to be doing is you want to be enjoying your family, because it is way past your contract hours. That sounds awful, right? I've been there. Have you been there? Let me know in the comments if you've been there. But now let's do something different. Let's imagine something a little bit harder to maybe imagine for some of you. But it's that same Thursday. Maybe it's a Sunday evening, but instead you're catching up on a book you love, your favorite Netflix series. Maybe you get into Love is Blind, because I did. I got into Love is Blind. Or perhaps you're just enjoying a peaceful dinner with your family without a care in the world. That sounds almost too good to be true, right? The fact is that is one of the leading contributors to teacher burnout, and it's what we call job creep. And this word describes this ever-expanding workload that over time makes even the most passionate educators feel overwhelmed and undervalued. And there are tools designed not to replace you, but to elevate your teaching and to reclaim that time so you can trade in those Thursday late night gradings for some Netflix and chill. And that's exactly what we're going to dive into today in this session on grading smarter, not harder with AI tools for teacher time saving and improved student outcomes. This technique, when harnessed correctly, can transform your life inside and outside of the classroom, and more importantly, to help your students to make serious progress. So in this workshop, we are going to cover some main things. And I know when I mention AI and grading, some teachers can start to imagine these really complicated systems, these fears that this is going to start to take over a really important part of our jobs. But we're here to debunk those myths. We're going to also explore how AI can help you support grading and feedback that are not only accessible, but are really amazing for creating more impactful, more engaging learning experiences for your students without sacrificing your well-being, because that's my biggest thing. But before we can get into all these platforms that you can choose from, we also want to discuss some important considerations that you will want to make about using AI in the grading and in the feedback process and the next steps that you can take. So first off, if we've never met before, my name is Brittany Blackwell. I am an instructional coach. I am a former special education teacher and coordinator at the district level, and I have been in education for the last 14 years. And long story short, 7 years ago, I was a newly single mom of 2 kids under the age of 3, and I was teaching one of the most difficult classes of my career. And I would spend all of my extra time working on paperwork for IEPs and responding to emails and writing lesson plans and spending countless hours before and after school just trying to get all of the tasks done as a teacher that I could. So let me know in the comments if you are one of those teachers that are spending all of your time doing all of these tasks. But I never felt like I was actually teaching. Like I became a teacher to teach, and I was not doing that. I didn't have the energy to make those connections. The never ending to do list was really, really beating me down. And every day I felt like I was literally drowning until the pandemic hit. And I really dove into technology. And I realized that a lot of the things that I was doing in my classroom and that I was doing in my teacher workflow just weren't conducive to work life balance. And there were more efficient ways to get things done without burning out. But, while the pandemic allowed me to find more efficient ways, it also made the inefficiencies in job creep more real for more educators. And I saw some of the most passionate teachers leave the profession because it was just too much. And it clicked. We live in a time where we're teaching using technology. We're connecting with friends and family through technology and social media where we can find the answers to our questions with the click of a button, right? I had gone through therapy. I'd learned about stress reduction and neuroscience, and no one was offering solutions to teachers to truly beat burnout. So I kept researching and I kept sharing what I was doing on social media and through my podcast, the Resilient Teacher Podcast. And that's where we're at today. And my goal and my passion is really helping teachers to implement these sustainable strategies, these systems, and these automations to avoid burnout, to keep you teaching long term, and to reignite your passion so that you can make a bigger impact in your classrooms and your communities, all in a way that's just authentic and realistic, because that's what's been the hardest to know. So I've got a couple of resources here that are, the biggest time draining tasks that we have is grading, is feedback. It's also one of the areas that is the most important, and it's a really long process. Okay. But students don't always get to use, the feedback that we give them and be able to take action. The average teacher, this is a crazy statistic, and I want to know how many of you knew this statistic beforehand, but the average teacher spends over 140 hours per year on grading and feedback alone. Higher for those ELA specific teachers with a lot of writing to do. Okay. And before we can dive into how AI can assist us with this grading and this providing feedback, it is truly crucial that we address some important considerations. With every technological advancement or implementation of an automation tool, our primary focus shouldn't just be on efficiency. Although that is a big pro, right? We have to first ask ourselves, is this in the best interest of our students? Is it essential that what we are doing is best for our students? It's essential that we examine these impacts of these tools through the lens of student welfare and the ethical consideration, because we have to ensure that our technological choices align with our educational values. So once we've decided that the tool is in the best interest of students, which any of the tools that we're going to discuss here today provide feedback more efficiently so that students can take action. So, okay, right, it's going to be in the best interest of our students. Then we have to ensure that any of the tools that we use are also filtered through security, privacy, compliance, transparency, fairness, and accuracy. Now, when we say data security and data privacy compliance, it is crucial that any AI tool that we use complies with local and international data protection regulations like GDPR in Europe, FERPA and COPA in the United States. And this compliance helps us to safeguard student information and really ensures that we are legally protected. My friend Laurel Aguilar Kirchhoff used this saying, and so now I'm just going to use it forevermore. Ask before you act. Has anybody ever heard that before? Because it was the first time I ever heard it with her. Before you do anything with student data or with work, ask your district or whoever is the leading entity, that means simply putting student work in a chat GPT or another AI bot, even if it's without student names or without information, directly used, it could be infringing on their privacy because these bots are often using data inputs to improve and refine their algorithms. And if we don't have the consent to do so from our districts or the students or their parents, this is a no-no. This raises some really, really important ethical questions about the anonymization of data and the potential of unintended data retention. So it's really imperative that we only use AI applications that are vetted and approved, ensuring that they adhere to strictly ethical standards and privacy laws. Okay. When in doubt, refer back to your district's policies, their guidelines to navigate these things really responsibly. Ask before you act. And when you're choosing a tool for grading and feedback or for really any other purpose, we also have to consider accuracy, right? Reliability, bias, fairness. Holly Clark was talking about bias in the first day, and I love how she explained it. So if you need to go back to her session and watch that, I love how she explains why, bias is important. But it's really imperative that we ensure that these AI tools don't, perpetuate these existing biases, but we have an edgy protocol for that. Lots of times we're able to filter these things from our adult brain, but when we have AI tools interacting with students, this is where this bias, this fairness, this accuracy really comes into play. So we want to choose something that we've tested, that's vetted, and that it's continuously improving this functionality. And this involves continuous monitoring, updating algorithms, being able to see that from the teacher lens, right? Something that maintains that fairness across those diverse student groups. And then the last two considerations is always student and parent consent. It's not just a legal requirement, it's a moral one, okay? Students and parents need to be aware of how their data is being used and have the option to opt out if they choose to. Lots of times this is done at the district level, but in some cases that's not. And so I would recommend bringing this up in a discussion. And continuous professional development. You guys are here today, so you're being developed, right? But educators should be adequately trained not only on how to use the tools, but also the ethical considerations and technical, nuances in using them. So now let's talk about, you're probably like, Brittany, what are the tools that you recommend for this? Well, there are quite a few that I'm aware of. They're out there, they're out and about, but I'm just going to take two different approaches to this. And so I'm going to be discussing two main platforms and two ways that you could go about utilizing this for your classroom. But please know there are others. You just want to filter it through the lens that we just discussed. Okay. These tools are the ones that I'm familiar with. I trust them. I know that they are FERPA and COPA compliant. They're backed and vetted by reputable educational institutions. They are free, which is big for us as educators, right? And they are ensured never to use data to improve their AI models. There's no marketing, no advertising, none of that. They both prioritize security, privacy, user friendliness, and I think that's it. And so they make them really, really excellent choices. The first platform that I want to share is a platform called Class Companion, classcompanion.com. What's unique about Class Companion is it is completely free, right? Yay, freeness. But it is free for a free website for teachers, and assignments are housed on the platform. And so this approach to grading and feedback is pretty different because not only does it provide feedback for short answer and essays, but also multiple choice. It is for any grade level, K through 12, any content area, math, science, social studies, even foreign language teachers out there, it's for you. You can create assignments from scratch, you can import them, or you can create them with the AI. And it doesn't just provide feedback on what is typed, you can also upload handwritten assignments. So it's perfect for maybe schools where there isn't that one-to-one access, or maybe you have younger students who are not ready to interact necessarily with the AI. But this method of AI grading and feedback is really cool because This platform allows for more students to interact with the AI, especially if you allow for multiple attempts, right? And this way, students are receiving coaching from the AI model, and it keeps a record of this interaction for you as well so that you can go back and actually utilize this information, right? So this is an example really quickly that I can show you. This is a social studies assignment and it's got a visual here. But what's really cool about it is you can see with Ron Weasley here that he is interacting with Class Companion. He's asking for some help. Give me some help here. And so Class Companion can give some coaching. And then you can see where Ron goes in for his first attempt. And then he gets feedback on that first attempt. So that's one way that you can kind of see it being used here in this respect. But then you can also see on this one, this is a lab journal. So yeast metabolism, we've got this here, and it's got, you're writing a lab report. So this is a more, it's a longer assignment here that you're going to be using. And then you can see the scoring on the right-hand side, okay? And you can customize this feedback. You can customize the scoring with your own rubric here. And you can see how it's kind of interacting and giving that information. That way the student can go back and can iterate and be able to adjust. Lots of times we offer these, one and done types of solutions, and that's just not the way that it is. So that way students can receive that AI coaching and it keeps a record of that interaction, and it'll give a grade based on the specific rubric that you have. So all you have to do is check for accuracy. Laura says the assessment feedback loop is so crucial to learning and so time consuming. Tools like this can revolutionize that teacher experience with burnout. Yes, absolutely. So how's this going to help you? Well, number one, this tool is helping to give more motivation for your students to improve. Raise your hand if you are a teacher who has been personally victimized by the lack of student engagement. I have. I mean, since COVID and all of those types of things, student engagement is down. And so this is kind of helping them to get more motivation. In an article in Forbes, it said, writing assignments are like a student shooting free throws, but not being told if the ball is going to make it into the basket until the next day. Think about that for a second. No matter how good the comments are the next day, the student's not going to be able to make the changes needed to improve without being in the headspace that they were in when they were doing the work. So what Class Companion does is when you offer multiple attempts to students, is they get that feedback. They can adjust, they can resubmit, and they can get coaching and scaffolding from the AI. For students, it also removes that fear of failure. Errors become tools of growth rather than these flaws to be hidden. And so it becomes more about the process of learning rather than the product itself. But also, third, it provides a more open teacher-student dialogue, which isn't always easy to do with multiple students and one teacher. Like 120 students, one teacher, that can't happen. So students can easily also dispute the critiques they receive from the AI. They can appeal that, and the teacher can then go back with the final determination. This just increases that trust, that self-advocacy, and also just a willingness to spot errors in assessment. Like that feedback is transformed from absolute truths to the starting point for a conversation. And I can't tell you how many times I received a red marked assessment and realized I'll never learn that material because we're just going to keep going, right? So what do assignments look like on Class Companion, and how easy is it to get started? Well, there's only 3 steps from setup to submission. Easy peasy. It's ridiculously simple. You just create your free account. You add an assignment by choosing from a library of content. You can import specific content. You can also create with AI. There are a ton of resources specifically for you AP teachers out there. There are AP, I know AP testing just finished, but for those of you who are looking to improve your AP scores, lots of AP resources there, but also for younger grades as well. Then all you got to do is send the link to your students. They complete the assignment. They get that feedback. Then all that's left for you to do is just review their iterative submissions and the AI feedback, and there you go. There is a ton of support for AP students on there, again, with specific types of questions. The library of content that's all already uploaded by Class Companion and other educators is super phenomenal. Okay. But the second tool that I want to discuss is probably the easiest to incorporate into your current workflow because it is a free Google Chrome extension. You've probably heard about it throughout, all of the things here, but Brisk Teaching. Brisk is really unique because it offers more than just support and feedback. It's an all-in-one solution, right? It's pretty much everywhere that you are: YouTube, Google Docs, presentations, articles, you name it, it's there. And it's a really robust tool, but specifically, I just want to cover what the feedback can look like with this tool. So it's a really good option for giving quicker feedback more often, but without having the students specifically work with an AI. So if you're a little bit weary about that, this may be a better option here. Oh, look, I see Aaron here. Awesome. Hey, Aaron. But I'll explain what I mean once I show you kind of how that works. Depending on which type of feedback I want to provide, it will either show up in the comments on the side of the document, or it'll be in the bottom or the top of the document. There are a number of ways that you can give targeted feedback. It can be done in a number of languages. So this is really good here as well. Or if I have particular standards that I want to align feedback to, I can do that from the standards section. I can also choose to upload a rubric there, and it can do that as well. So then you can also do, I just click to do targeted feedback, it'll do brisket, and it'll come up right there. So if I picked a specific standard, it would provide that feedback aligned to that standard. However, if I leave it open, the extension is just going to provide more general feedback overall. Glow and Grows, I don't know how many of you have to give Glow and Grow feedback, but it's really good for that as well. And it appears at the top of the document. Rubric criteria, also you can create a rubric with Brisk extension. So if you need help with creating a rubric, it will do that as well. And then it will have the extension provide feedback on that. The last one is next steps, and it is great for providing students to outline what the next phase of their work might look like. Probably my favorite is the feedback insights, though. So they have an insights feature tool because it's an all-in-one solution. It allows you to gather these insights from aggregate feedback to inform teaching strategies. So you can immediately generate follow-up resources. You got lesson plans, those types of things from the insights after doing, I think it's 5 or more feedback. So it's really cool. And because you control the feedback, this is for those teachers who are a bit leery about using AI feedback and want more control over it as well. But you can also do that with Class Companion. The personal touch there ensures that while you're utilizing the technology to aid your grading, you're not completely handing over that interaction. So whether you're marking assignments or analyzing presentations, reviewing articles, Brisk is right there with you. It's embedded in your browser, makes it incredibly accessible and convenient to provide that feedback that's constructive, timely, relevant. And Brisk is launching a student-facing feedback tool called Brisk Boost. It will allow you to give that feedback prior to submission, but it's not available yet to the public. So you can check that out at briskboost.ai. I hear teachers, though, say all the time, they're worried, they're concerned that AI is going to replace them. So before I lose you to that, and I don't think I will here at this specific week of AI, I want to bust the myth right now. The goal of incorporating AI and automation is not to replace the irreplaceable. That's you. That's the educators. It is, in fact, though, there to empower you. These tools are here to take care of those administrative, repetitive tasks, freeing up for you to do what you do best, which is inspire, guide, engage with your students. When it comes to grading and feedback, so often we are unable to use that feedback that we give our students in a timely manner to truly impact that student learning. By automating some of those mundane aspects of grading, AI tools like Brisk and Class Companion can help ensure that feedback is not only quicker, but also more consistent and precise. This immediacy, this reliability can dramatically change how students receive and use feedback to improve their work before it's too late. It's here to simplify your workload, personalize those learning experiences, and offer some really valuable insights. But at the end of the day, it's you who's bringing the magic into the classroom. When people think of the influences on their life, they don't say, Miss Blackwell's math lesson was so good, it changed my life. No, it's Miss Blackwell as a person made a difference. It's your unique perspective. It's your passion. It's your ability to connect with students on a more personal level. And that is irreplaceable. That's something that AI can never do. The AI tools that are available are only as good as the teacher who's utilizing them. End of story. AI could create an entire lesson, a curriculum, whatever, but at the end of the day, it is you who brings that content to the table. Okay. And feedback and grading are just one of the small parts of our jobs. There are tons of other tasks that can be automated, can be streamlined, and just overall more efficient with the use of AI. But hopping back and forth between a million different tools, that's not always the answer. It's about creating a system to make your job more efficient and more impactful for students. So after you leave this workshop, what I want you to do is go and grab the workbook. I made this super simple for you to kind of use all of this and then take some action on it. You can grab the workbook at teachingmindbodyandsoul.com/grade smarter workbook. All one word, grade smarter workbook, teachingmindbodyandsoul.com. Use the prompts in your workbook to decide the strategy for your feedback and grading. Okay, ask yourself, do you prefer to have more control over what's communicated to your students, or if you want them to gain more experience using AI for receiving feedback in those iterations? This is going to help you to decide between tools like Brisk and Class Companion. Once you've made your choice, I want to encourage you to integrate the chosen tool into your daily workflow for a couple of weeks. Observe how it affects the feedback process, the overall dynamics of your classroom. Connect with other people in either Brisk or Class Companions communities on Facebook. Share your experiences. Learn from other people's challenges and successes. I have linked both of those groups inside of the workbook there as well. And just keep some reflection going. Track some data during this trial period. Notice any shifts in student engagement, improvements in the quality of their work, maybe their responsiveness to new forms of feedback. This reflection is going to help you understand the impact that this is making and provide you some insights on what you can do. Finally, I just want you to consider some other areas that you could automate your classroom, just to kind of make it a system to offer you more valuable instruction. If you're interested in more ways to streamline your workload, I do have a few podcast series that I go into on my podcast, the Resilient Teacher Podcast. You can find that at teachingmindbodyandsoul.com/podcast. And if you're not sure if automation or AI is what you need to sustain your career and beat burnout, I do invite you to take my free quiz on my website. It's going to give you your personalized, unique roadmap to burnout recovery. That way you can end the burnout cycle once and for all. You'll have a clear action step and support along the way. You can get that at teachingmindbodyandsoul.com/quiz. And if it's the first time that we met, I do encourage you to follow me on social media, listen to the podcast, or just shoot me a DM. Like, I love to talk to other educators, love chatting. I love growing alongside of them. It was a pleasure to get to talk to you guys today about grading smarter, not harder. And I hope that you enjoyed.
Oh my gosh, Brittany, that was amazing. Like, I kind of want to be like, just keep talking. I mean, I've already got a new.
You are a good hype person.
And I love a podcast. How did I not already have this? So I've got a new podcast, I've got a website down. I am ready to go. I'm set. This is amazing. And I really, seriously, you guys, I mean, you bring the magic to the classroom, and it's so good and it's so purposeful to hear somebody else say that, and especially someone who is there and does it. So thank you so much for joining us. It truly, it was a pleasure. And guys, I hope that you will head on over to our last session. I'm going to just say really quick to make sure that you check out your schedule for Saturday in the workshop and tomorrow the Masked Singer, because it's going to be a lots of fun, and we're going to head out. Have a great night. I'll see you in the next session.
Hello and welcome to the Premium AI Strategy Accelerator, the ultimate program for schools, colleges and universities and businesses that want to lead in the AI revolution. Before you apply, let me tell you how this program works. Who is this program for? We focus on helping a hand-picked team of 6 to 10 change makers in your organization. And this elite innovation squad will become your internal startup, pioneering AI-driven solutions that define your organization's future.